every person is, quote unquote, fighting a different battle. If their left mode is not yet their friend and their right mode, so if you don't have that bilateral integration, the capacity to wield your mind, to choose that path of how you think, mindset, it is everything, because the emotions that come up are being translated by this. Okay, so the detours that the 4D, 3D take, they're going to stay around that detour. I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, a self-empowered woman, and that's because I have a whole inner child right here. My beloved did not get lost, and in fact, that's because I was able to maintain Dharma, to be able and maintain bilateral integration, for I was not overwhelmed with anything in my first 3 years of life. So what I love about science is the attachment and trauma courses that I'm taking, and what I love about all the research that has been conducted officially, quantitative, not qualitative, which, by the way, social media, qualitative, not even, because I'm not creating a hypothesis, right? So I'm sharing subjective opinion, and I support people who want the miracle of their own personal development journey to achieve that inner self. It's not that you're going to change. It all depends on you, meaning if you're a person who needs to access your own inner world, then you're going to feel changed, because you're going to move from a non-bilaterally not integrated brain. So where you get overwhelmed, okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but basically you're going to witness your own sacrifice was your childhood, because you were not given the opportunity to maintain that universal truth. The fact that you can be surrendered to your inner world and just be the quirky you. I got lucky. I'm a whole 3-year-old heart. That's why I'm an empowered woman. That's also why I'm a 5D mystic. And again, woo-woo, pseudoscience lady. I'm okay with that, because I do know that I'm not smart in a lot of things. But what I also know is that those who use their brain and are open to their own inner world, they will have questions, and they ask them with curiosity. So they don't make false accusations of a person and spread rumors or get pissy in their pants like the ego-sensitive people. We talk about the mantles of mental health today and the mantles of yoga, or spiritual bypassers, okay? But let me focus in on us. Okay, so for us, the ones of us who understand we live in an imperfect world because it's made of imperfections, and we understand that people's detours within their narrative affects. Okay, so you can choose if you want to move into the higher self of you, which means that you start to learn to get online with your prefrontal cortex. So your 7 chakras and more than just that. Okay. So again, whole 3-year-old heart. Here we do personal development, self-help, and we build 5D relationships. So those of us who care, we offer always a safe haven, secure base. We can, because we know how to use the power of our mouth. That's to have conversations, okay? So no matter what type of, what is it called, betrayal, we don't say, I'm going to shut the door to you, because we know how to have, hey, you know what, this maladaptive child behavior, and we don't use those words. Hey, you know what, this thing that happened really hurt my feelings. Can we talk? So I see a lot of videos online. Some talk to you about how a secure attachment person handles, for example, breakup. We're just going to chit chat about how a person who is emotionally, mentally, physically aware gets to handle relationships. Okay, so we're integrating, again, spirituality and mysticism and the human elements, because that's what I am. I have all of that. And I bring them together to support you to tap into, if you want, your higher, infinite human conscious potential, but also just to share voices, stories, and perspectives. And what's beautiful about this time and era is that attachment trauma researchers are helping us to know that the self of every one of you, like mine, is a verb. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. And so anyone with a diagnosis is actually healable, and they're not broken. Sometimes I make the mistake of using the word fixed, and I will make mistakes again and again, and I will forget data and I'll confuse it. It's why authenticity and transparency, when you're just chit-chatting, the miracle of life and the miracle of education. When people tell me they don't want schools, I'm like, okay, there's an ignorant person. They don't know that schools are important. They must be in one of those echo chambers that is of the 3D, 4D. Okay, so they don't want to, they're not doing anything here. This is silent. Okay, let me get on with our conversation though. When you welcome people, I'm a divine feminine, so I will always see the inner child of a person, and I will also always see what they can become if they welcome themselves. That's just my inclined nature. But that's because I got determined with a home that was this, okay? So I got to stay online with my prefrontal cortex, and as an adolescent, I went through the pruning process like anybody else did, and I saw that all those maladaptive child behaviors, in fact, they're still there for those who did not move into expanding their consciousness. So they stayed with a brokenhearted shame, blame, fault, and revenge. And that equals not just a diagnosee group of people, just all and anyone that I'm going to box up in the human suffering love narrative for now, okay? And so when an emotionally available person like myself, an empowered woman, meets an empowered man, we know that they're empowered because they're going to be fun to be around all the time, not just sometimes. And when they have their mood swings, they know how to say, I had a mood swing. I'm upset right now. And so they know how to talk about things. They don't consider it them explaining or justifying. They consider, I want you to get to know me. And sometimes, I have things that take place. So it's really easygoing when a person opens up to themselves and then they allow themselves to be in a secure connection, which is what we can offer. Now, for my polyamory community, this isn't challenging, again, to share with someone, hey, there's no pedestals, but I know your mind might play tricks on you, so you need to be able to talk to me about those moments where you have potential low self-esteem and you think you're going to be replaced. So it's not, again, a challenge for secure, attached, whole 3-year-old heart, inner child, empowered women, men, or theys to say to each other the things that they're feeling and thinking. You don't hide your thoughts away. So the number one thing that I see teenagers doing, and I call them teenagers, but they're not teenagers, the maladaptive child, the ones who get their pathology, their diagnoses, and they don't go to good therapy. They don't keep on doing the personal development. They don't journal. They don't do the 3 pillars of the mind, which is focused attention, then awareness with kind intention. So they choose not to get a handle on their left. The narrative is what's going to need to shut up so that you have enough time to figure out, do I have a window welcome or not to my emotions? What triggered me? How do I handle it? Taking ownership of your emotional plane is what people don't do. We do that here for personal development, and I'm informed enough to know if somebody needs more than just a person who can support you with exercises, and it depends what you choose to do, the Ask Maria, the mentorship, or at one point our masterclass. But point is, I know exactly what to look for, because every time I've gotten the honor and opportunity to ask the therapist, hey, I'm a counselor, consultant, I'm a mentor, I'm a content creator, all these words. What do I do and how do I know when it's time to ask for you? Because I know I'm going to need you if I have somebody who has DID. And they have, those altars that can come up. Obviously, it's only if a person's welcoming that type of journey with me. If they're a random friend, I ain't going to be like, hey, guess what you have? Those are the martyrs, codependents. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's humorous to see teenagers who are grown-ups out there, the mantles of mental health. They also, the mantles of yoga, the spiritual bypassers, those, see, now I shut my mouth because those ones make me think of Jesus. And every time I think of Jesus, I'm like, wow, you don't hear yourself, do you? You don't know what humble or humility means. But now I'm like, okay, wait, that 0-1-year-old is seeking for a attachment. So long story short, let me leave that alone. We know what it is to be supportive to people who need support. The divine feminine knows when an inner child needs us. We will feel it. There's no way you won't. This is the part, and it's not a curse, and it's not some cross to bear. Anytime a 4D will have said, we have a cross to bear, I'm like, you didn't get terrorized like those other people, the people who have hell in their body. If you have any room for controlling and working with your brain, that means you have enough room to, okay, let me go and get good support, because there's support out there, and then let's support each other so that every person can actually embrace themselves. Not everybody will want that. We get it. Not everybody will complete. Some will do that karma, human suffering love narrative, but some will choose to come home to themselves. The safe haven, secure base, the 5D collective, self-empowered women, men, and theys, people who have an open heart always, because it's your restorative embodiment. This is not a genius's need. It's you choose to work with yourself and with others. It's a herd like Manny, Diego, and Sid, and we're Pachas. So join us at IHP. We're going to have one more episode for the day. Have a good one.